Hey, welcome in. Well, we have a poll here. This was from July 22nd, 2020, and things have gotten worse since then, but it says 62% of Americans say they have political views they're afraid to share. So this is cancel culture, obviously. People are afraid to share views. Why? Because they're afraid of being canceled. They're afraid of being attacked, being fired from their jobs. I mean, look, permanent suspension of real Donald Trump. If they can do that to him, they can do that to you. You may need your Twitter account for your business for any number of reasons. It could be really important to you. You might be afraid of losing it. It says a new Cato National Survey finds that self-censorship is on the rise in the United States. And I can tell you it's not just the United States. It's every English-speaking country and many, many more. Anyway, nearly two-thirds, or 62% of Americans, say the political climate these days prevents them from saying things they believe because others might find them offensive. The share of Americans who self-censor has risen several points since 2017, when 58% of Americans agreed with this statement. And I'm sure that, not even a year after this article, it's surely higher. Especially after the hysteria, the absolute hysteria since January 6th, when I guess we're asked to believe that a QAnon shaman almost became Speaker of the House. But anyway, let's continue. So anyway, how does this break down? Staunch liberals stand out as the only group who feels they can share their political opinions. Well, I wonder why that is. Well, it's because the media, everything coming out of the media agrees with them. The entire culture, every institution, every corporation, big tech, they all agree with them, right? They're all together. You're not going to get kicked off of Twitter or Facebook for posting staunch liberal views, right? I mean, you're not going to get kicked off for posting extreme radical leftist views. But anyway, what does it say in this chart here? It says, agree or disagree. Here's the question. The political climate these days prevents me from saying things I believe because others might find them offensive. So people just afraid to speak their mind. So let's see. Agree is this line here. So it's the yellow line. So strong liberals, 42% of them say that the political climate prevents them from saying things they believe. 77% of strong conservatives, also conservatives, just regular conservatives, agree that the political climate prevents them from saying things they believe. So you've got 35 points higher from if you go from the extreme to if you go from one extreme to the other. 64% of moderates are afraid of saying what they think. 64%. 52% of liberals. 52% of liberals. And if they're talking about just traditional liberals here, then they're not afraid of speaking because of the conservatives. They're afraid of speaking because of the leftists, the far leftists, the ones who apparently run everything now. And here we really get to it. 32% worry their political views could harm their employment. And that's a very real worry. I mean, do you remember this guy, the California man fired over alleged white power sign he says was cracking his knuckles? So there's just a regular guy who lost his job. How about Carolyn Borisenko? She's actually the woman who just broke the Coca-Cola Be Less White training scandal. I mean, I've done a video on that. I think a couple of videos on that one. But here's something that she wrote. You might not think of the knitting world, as a particularly political community, but you'd be wrong. Many knitters are particularly active in social justice communities and love to discuss the revolutionary role knitters have played in our culture. Revolutionary role that knitters have played in our culture. I started noticing this about a year ago, particularly on Instagram. It was impossible to ignore after roving gangs of online social justice warriors started going after anyone in the knitting community who was not lockstep in their ideology. The knitting community, this is getting into everything now. Wonder why so many people are afraid of speaking their mind? Because no matter what you're doing, you could be in a bowling league, you might be afraid of speaking your mind. I mean, here we're talking about the knitting community, right? The knitting community. Just going to interrupt for 1 second to say, if you like this content, subscribe so you can see more. Thanks a lot. So, people worrying about political views harming their employment, yeah, that's pretty reasonable. Let's see, nearly a third of employed Americans say they personally are worried about missing out on career opportunities or losing their job if their political opinions became known. These results are particularly notable given that most personal campaign contributions to political candidates are public knowledge and can easily be found online. So, what will be the result of this? I think it's going to be balkanization, you know? People will go and live in places where people share their values and ideals. They don't have to worry about being canceled. I mean, if you live and work in a place where people share your ideas, you don't have to worry about an online mob getting you canceled. And probably we'll see, parallel economies. I mean, we've already seen some move towards that with entertainment, where now you have conservatives setting up their own studios and making their own content. We've seen that with Gina Carano going collaborating with the Daily Wire. And there's a number of other people that I believe are moving to Texas, where they're just going to start up their own studios and they're going to start putting out their own non-woke entertainment. And conservatives will consume that. In the corporate world, you see most of the big corporations, are very woke. Amazon and Nike and others. Coca-Cola, obviously. Check out that Coca-Cola video I did. It's got an animation in it, which you might like. But there's others as well. MyPillow, famously. Mike Lindell, MyPillow, a conservative company. There was Goya Foods, which I believe they're called Goya, who also, came out as Trump supporters, as a conservative company. Will we see that start to filter down to the level of just communities? I don't know. But anyway, that's all I got to say about that. Please subscribe, like, and share. That really helps me out. If you'd just like to listen, there's the podcast, Radio Baloney. It's on pretty much every platform. You'll find it if you look for it. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time.